Come on through, Cookie. I want to put my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Hey, you guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 9, episode 9. Really, this episode was probably better than some of the ones that we've actually had in the last couple weeks, but didn't cover a whole lot. Let's talk about Cynthia and Kenya. Cynthia and Kenya got together and they were talking. And Cynthia was kind of thrown back because in that conversation, she found out that Kenya has been hired by Peter to host the opening of his Bar One, his new Bar One restaurant in North Carolina. And you can see on Cynthia's face, she was shocked. He didn't even invite her. He literally hadn't invited her or anything like that. But I mean, Peter's petty. And we know that. Peter's petty. Peter's not over Cynthia. And I think in a lot of ways, Peter feels as though he didn't win and he's not winning. So, he's petty. And that's Peter. It is what it is. But Kenya's a troublemaker bitch, so she went on and invited her. So she like, fuck it, yeah, I'm going, because Cynthia petty too. So she's like, I'm going to go. So I said, I bet you she's going to be sharp as hell whenever she gets here, right? So she had all that go on. In the meantime, in between time, Todd had a conversation with Peter and basically let Peter know, I don't know if that was such a good idea to not invite Cynthia. I said, okay. So I said, well, we'll just wait until they actually meet up and see what happens. But I knew they wouldn't really show out on each other, but they would both come to, a petty agreement, I guess. A mess. While all this is going on, Todd ends up showing, later on shows Candy an Instagram post from Johnny. Y'all remember Johnny. Remember Johnny's the little one that was her assistant and was running around and was doing all that stuff with her wedding and all that planning. So we find out that Johnny's been fired, back in February. He got fired from Candy because she said he was dropping the ball on some things because Johnny has his own party planning or event planning business. And he was basically kind of working both things, but she felt like he was dropping the ball on some things that had to do with Candy Factory. So she let him go. Yet she continued doing some business with him under his umbrella. He made an Instagram post, and the post had something to say about fake people and this, that, thing, and the other. And it was a picture of him with the Candy Coded group. Well, he should have known they're petty too. So he should have known that wasn't going to go real well. And it wasn't very professional as far as I was concerned. But anyway. So Candy was talking and saying, I ain't really for it and this, that, and the other. She's selling wolf tickets. This ain't the best time to do all that. I said, oh, she's going to show off. Sure enough, that's exactly what she did. She stayed back. She had this event for her MLM, for her little Candy Coated Nights MLM. She did a little seminar and all that. And Johnny was the one who his company was planning everything. So she had paid him everything. And then this is where I was like, it wasn't very professional, but it was done for camera. She confronts him at the event. And she snaps all out, talks, she says what she has to say. And what she said wasn't bad. The things that she said wasn't bad. It just wasn't the time or the place. That was a conversation they could have had over the phone or had a business meeting to have. It wasn't time to have that fucking conversation at that event. And Candy was just, really barking and really getting down. Now, I was with Johnny because Johnny could have really argued back with her and been like, fuck you, bitch. because that was how her candor was with him. It was very fuck you and this, that, and the other. And if you didn't agree with the pay, and he said a few things, but she just like cut it down, shut it down, and it was true. The shutdowns, she was right, but he didn't really give her all that we've seen people get. When it had it been me and I was feeling like I didn't do wrong, I couldn't imagine that it would have been that quiet. But he just kind of sucked it up. But of course, they attack as a group as well. So when they got started, you had Carmen right here, you had Dawn Juan right here, then you got Candy talking all this shit. They do that. They attack as a group. So that's kind of the way they do things. It's very courtyard behavior, kids courtyard behavior. It's like the whole scene, you could have took that whole scene, you could have took all those adults and dropped them right in on the swing set and they would have fit right in. It was like, child, go ahead. But anyway, but he was like, all right, well, whatever. So the next thing we see him, he's part of it. He's Patty LaBelle too. Boyfriend went and seen Phaedra. Wanted to find out if he had some legal ground to stand on to sue Candy for some things. And I'm like, well, any job that you've done and you agreed to the pay, whether it was too low, too high, whatever, you agreed to it. Then he continued talking with Phaedra, and we found out that the idea of the restaurant and all of that was actually him and Candy together. They had actually started that business plan together, Candy and Johnny, and they had looked at places and all of that. He had documentation of it and all of that. And then he was saying how she just out of the blue said, oh no, me and Tar are going to do a restaurant. So he's going to try to go after her that way. And again, I'm not a lawyer. That gets very tricky. So it's going to be interesting to see how that falls out, because there's a couple different ways you can look at it, because if we hadn't fallen out or anything like that, and you just pop up the next day and, oh, now you and Todd are doing it, then I do have a loss of wages. Once you get your restaurant up and going, then I'm having a loss of wages. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know how that would actually fall out. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. That was pretty shady, though. But that didn't surprise me. Candy and Todd, that didn't surprise me. Anyway, next, let's see. Portia and Jose. Her brother. Something's off with that. His whole relationship with her something's off. Like, he kind of seems like the distant relative of Lauren and Portia. Is that just me? Or they kind of talk like that, like they don't really know him all like that. You know what I mean? And he seems a little goofy to me. But yeah, they were just having that whole little conversation, and it just seems so forced for the screen. They're not interesting to me as a family, as a whole. Lauren, Portia, the brother, Cordell. Not interesting. Anyway, but she's moving out of the house, moving in with her mother while she looks for a house. In the realm of being an adult, that just doesn't work for me. I don't understand that. I don't understand how when you move from your parents' house, that's it. You don't go back. You do all your little moves and all of whatever it is you're going to do. And the plan should never be you going back home. Go back home for what? I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Not, especially like this rich bitch. You driving around in Bentleys and carrying on and whatever. Not my issue. Anyway, so she going to move on back in with her mother. And then later on in there, this is where the problem, this is where it's problematic. You in there fucking Todd in your mama's house. Better your mother than me, honey, because ain't nobody fucking in here but the one paying the bills. Neither one of my kids fucking in my house. It's not going to happen. I don't give a fuck what age they ever get. Nobody's fucking in here but the bitch paying the bills. You understand? Not gonna happen. That's some old disrespectful shit. I just don't see that. Grown kids moving into their parents' house, laying up. And then, and then there's always that little twist. Well, if I'm married, if you're married, you ain't got no business even moving back in your mama's house. You and your husband. The fuck out of here. That's some old disrespectful shit. That ain't my thing. If I'm stepping on some people's toes, y'all lift your feet up. It is what it is. Shit's disrespectful. When you want to fuck, you should have an address. Your own address. Not a friend's address, not somewhere you're staying, not your parents' address. Your own fucking address. That's where you do your fucking at your own fucking address. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so once we get to the whole thing, to Peter's function, then there's more drama because there was a whole conversation about that motherfucking Matt. Peter invited Matt after he consulted with Kenya, who said, yes, invite Matt. Then she backpedaled and pussy popped and told Peter, don't invite Matt. So Peter canceled Matt's ticket. Of course, Cockeye got mad and drove to Charlotte and wanted to say what he wanted to say to Kenya and was still going to come to the function, He put all the blame basically on Kenya about the ticket being canceled and everything like that. Cynthia shows up at the function first and saying that she didn't think Kenya was going to show because Kenya was feeling like she wasn't safe because she had gotten text messages from Matt saying he was coming, he was threatening her and doing all the things that Cockeye does, okay? So I'm like, this is all just, they're getting to be real irritating too, and I'm sure the group of friends probably be like, fuck you two, ain't nobody got time for y'all. So Cynthia told Peter, it's a good thing I'm here, and she let him know that she would fill in for Kenya and host, but I'm going to need that hostess pay. He going to say, you're still actually Mrs. Thomas. I said, girl, you better tell that motherfucker. Sign on the dotted line or you on your own with this bullshit. But Cynthia looked nice. She had this real cute winter white dress on. It was a halter, full halter. It was real, she looked sharp, but you knew that she would. You knew that bitch wasn't going to step in there and don't be right. But in the meantime, between time, Matt shows up, Kenya shows up as well, and she's in the parking lot. Now she's being all dramatic, and she's calling Cynthia, and Cynthia and Peter are sitting there talking, and some shit jumps off. Matt shows up. Matt goes up to the car to say something to Kenya, and she's, Kenya playing it up like Kenya does, because I'm starting not to feel sorry for Kenya because, again, like, we need to start listening to Matt. Like he says, she lures him in and then she flips the script and she gets all the footage that she needs. She manipulates him. And it is what it is. You can see it. If you're paying attention to the show, if you're fucking watching the show, you see how it's going and you see what's going on. She sets him up, and makes him look real fucking crazy. But I got so motherfucking tickled because, see, old Cockeye ain't to be fucked with, really. Now, when he done went up to the car to say what he needs to say to Kenya, and the motherfucking man, the driver, gonna roll the motherfucking window up on his head because he trying to put his head in to say something. He gonna roll the window up on him, so he smacked the motherfucking shit out of the driver. What y'all want from him? I got just a tickle. I said, Lord, no. Cockeye didn't cold cock the motherfucking driver, did he, Kenya? Now Kenya's all spastic. He's dangerous. This, that, and the other. No, bitch, you're dangerous. You're dangerous because you drive him to beat your ass. And I can't wait till he really snaps you and give it to you, too. Because you just clowning. Anyway, so Peter comes and gets her, brings her in. Matt that went off on his way. Peter said what he had to say to Matt. Pretty much chastised Matt. Matt didn't even get smart with Peter. He just was like, you know what? I understand you, bro. But you need to give that same information to her. and let her know to stop motherfucking playing with people. And Peter went back in there, sat with Kenya, and told Kenya just that. Now, I want to see what y'all going to say about Peter. Because Peter went back in there, and I got my life off of it. He went in there and told Kenya under no uncertain terms, I don't give a fuck about what's going on. What you need to do, you need to leave Matt alone. Y'all need to let it go. Whatever it is that y'all got going on, let it go. It's done. Be done with it. Y'all are bad for each other. Y'all need to let it go and be done with it. And I was here for that. I was totally here for that. So I was like laughing. I said, good for you, Peter. And Kenya seemed to actually have gotten it. She listened. She didn't give Peter no back talk. There wasn't no smart mouth confessionals or nothing like that. I think she got the message. And I was like, yeah, for that motherfucker, kill your dumb ass. But I think that's what it is. I think she likes to get the footage from Matt, and I'm pretty sure she likes the way he bangs on her, honey, because, you know, he's cockeyed and ridiculous and kind of retarded, so probably bangs her real good, honey, and she just keeps falling back in. Foolishness. Anyway, at the end was the funniest thing of all, was after all that went on, Peter had a very successful turnout. It was packed out in the place. The place is beautiful. Everything's going really, really well. And, you know, Cynthia and him were like talking after it was over. And didn't that old motherfucker try to slip in there and beg for some pussy, honey? And Cynthia gave him very much of, that's awkward, Peter. He's like, I live like 3 blocks from here. She said, that's awkward, Peter. Like, you are not getting pussy. You didn't even invite me. Get out of here. I said, oh, poor Peter. You didn't get no cooch this time. But do you believe that when she was out in California and seeing Leon, I don't think Leon got the same response. I think Leon got pussy. But whatever. I don't know. Y'all leave it down in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. But poor Peter. Peter, he was respectful. He went on, you know, put his little head down and went on. I said, oh, Cynthia. I thought that was cute. Anyway, but that's it for this episode. This was I enjoyed this one more than I have probably the last 3, actually. So, all right, y'all. I'll talk with y'all soon. Later.